Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to a second year of study together. I hope you've had a good, refreshing, relaxing, invigorating, enriching kind of a break from your studies, your academic work, and that you're ready to attack a second year with enthusiasm. I also hope, however, it wasn't so relaxing that you forgot all the Spanish that you learned with me. I don't think that'll be the case, but nonetheless, I hope you had a chance to maintain or even advance all that you learned last year. Maybe you've had a chance to travel to a Spanish-speaking country, or you've made a Hispanic friend, or at least that you took some time in the course of this break to describe to yourself the activities going on around you and the scene located around you. As for me, my break has been very brief. To be very honest with you, the last video I made at the end of the first year, day 165, took place just 2 weeks ago. So I haven't had much of a break yet, really, from my computer work, my academic work here. I did, however, get a chance to get outside because the spring has come in Michigan. Snow is gone. The sun is back out again. Baseball's about to start. I've had a chance to get out and raise some baby chicks, get the garden ready for planting. And so I'm ready. I'm ready to hit it again, and I hope you are too. Well, you notice as we get into the second year program now that there's a little change in the approach, which is suggested by what you see down below this video in day number 1. You notice there are 2 different activities proposed, and these activities come from different units. This is something new. Now, why is that the case? Well, it's because we're coming to a watershed moment in your studies together. Last year, the first 84 days of the school year, we spent exclusively doing oral activities, working on speaking and listening. And then in day number 85, which was, I think it was lesson 2.3, you were exposed to phonics, the first exposure to phonics instruction, to the alphabet, to some elementary reading, some very simple reading at first, either about the Richardson family or a paraphrase of a passage from the Bible, whichever reading you chose to do. And then over time, we developed your knowledge, your understanding of phonics, and your ability to read the language. At first it was silently, and then later on out loud, more and more as we went through Unit 2 and on into Unit 3. Well, now as we begin the second year, we're going to start with lesson 3.15, and that will be an oral lesson, a lesson where you're simply hearing and producing sound. However, Unit 5, lesson 5.1, which you see as the second activity below this video, helps you prepare to begin to write. You'll start writing Spanish for the first time on day number 3 in lesson 5.3. And so this is a big moment when we're starting to write the language. And don't be intimidated. Writing Spanish is going to be relatively easy, far easier than if we had started trying to write from the first day of class last year. That would have been a big mistake. Why will it be easier now than it would have been if we'd started writing early? It's because now you know, before you ever start writing, what the language is supposed to sound like. That has a big impact in facilitating the process of learning to write. You also have a knowledge of phonics, and you've done extensive elementary reading. And so you've seen what words in print are supposed to resemble. Additionally, Spanish is a phonetic language. That means that whatever you say is exactly what you write. It's extremely predictable. English is not predictable. For example, if I wanted to write the word care, I could write it any number of ways. C-A-R-E, C-A-I-R, C-A-I-R-E probably, C-A-Y-R, K-A, I could write a K at the beginning of every one of those options too. Spanish is not like that. What you say is what you write. How many different ways could you write trabajar? There's only one way. There are no 2 ways to write trabajar, for example, or jugar. There's only one way that possibly can be written, and that's what you'll find is the case with almost all words in Spanish, that there's one way to write them, and you can't possibly go wrong as long as you have a good grasp on phonics, on the sounds that individual letters make in Spanish, because individual letters are handled in a very predictable fashion. They don't change their value based upon where they're located in the word or what word is next to them. For example, in English, the letter I. How do you pronounce the letter I? Well, B-I-T, bit. It's I. But in T-I-E, it's tie. It's I. That's not the case in Spanish. The letter I, which is E, will always be E, whether it's next to another vowel, whether it's at the beginning of a word, at the end of a word. You'll see that learning to write Spanish is not going to be difficult at all. Let me give you a quick overview, a thumbnail sketch of what the second year is going to contain, and then we'll start to get into the actual lessons themselves. In the second year, we're in the midst of Unit 3 as far as the oral lessons are concerned. And Unit 3 dealt with human description. You remember last year, toward the end of the year, we were talking about physical description, emotions, clothing, colors, health, parts of the body, family relationships as well. Well, we'll continue with Unit 3, but we're going to move into, in Unit 4, talking about domestic vocabulary. Domestic vocabulary will deal with, it deals with a home, the exterior of a house, the interior of a home, the rooms, the furnishings, the activities you do in a home, typically chores that one does to maintain a home. We'll talk about food as well, and food preparation. And then we'll move into urban life, city life. We'll talk about institutions, stores, buildings, modes of transportation. And then the second half of the year, a big emphasis will be placed upon learning some new verb tenses. Up to this point, you can speak in the present simple tense. I speak Spanish. You can speak in the near future. I'm going to speak Spanish. And you can speak in the present progressive. I am speaking Spanish right now. But at this point, you're completely blocked when it comes to talking about what's taken place in the past. So that's what the second year, the second half of the second year, will be devoted to. So at this point, you can now move to the activities that follow this video, the first of which is an oral activity. It's lesson 3.15, dealing with possessive adjectives. You'll only do a portion of that particular lesson. You'll deal with the sections indicated down below. And then following that, you'll move into lesson 5.1, which is about phonics, about the alphabet. It's getting you ready to start writing in a couple days from now. Okay, I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.